Dun, 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 dun. Okay, now it was confirmed. It does look even more awesome than we could imagine for the Hogwarts Legacy game. The room of requirement will be exactly the way you want it to be. You'll be able to totally personalize it according to what you need and what you feel like. So let's check, what options do we have in the room of requirement? We can call the room of requirement your very own headquarters in the Hogwarts castle. It has multiple functions. It is your workshop, it's a safe place for you and your magical beasts, it's a magical garden and a lab for brewing potions. It's a kind of a playground for your smaller and bigger magical pets. So first of all, we're gonna be decorating the room of requirement according to our designer taste. Some basic themes and schemes are gonna be available from the very beginning, and then to make more sophisticated and precise personalizations of your own, you're gonna be buying recipes for any smaller items in your room in special shop in Hogsmeade, Stones and Scrolls. I mean, this looks really huge. You'll be able to decide which furniture, which decorations you will bring there, which kind of ceiling, and you can obtain like super rare magical items or anything you just can imagine to make the room match exactly the kind of wizard you are. So what's behind it? We are creating objects for our room of requirement through conjuring them. The animation looks as if an object comes out of nowhere, but of course we know it's not possible. So here in the game we should first buy those recipes in Hogsmeade, and this is kind of fun because in the magical world we have the Gamp's law of elemental transfiguration. That's why we're not going to be able to conjure any food here, since food is the first of 5 principal exceptions to the law. Anyway, apart from the visual picture, of course the main thing is that the room actually helps you progressing through the game. First of all, the room is our potions lab. We have here planting pots to grow out magical herbs and plants, and we have this cool looking potion station where we're gonna be brewing our potions. The plants actually that we are growing are gonna be ingredients to our potions, and I'm pretty sure the mechanics is gonna be very similar to the mechanics of decorations. First, get to know a recipe of a potion, then go for example to a Hogsmeade shop, buy there some seeds for our magical plants, grow them, wait some time, and then use the recipe that we obtained earlier to make our potion, which also gotta take some time before it's done. And the more difficult the potion is, the greater abilities it brings, the more time it takes it to brew it. And to learn those new recipes, you're gonna have to attend classes at Professor Aesop Sharp, the potion professor. Plus, I'm sure we're gonna be occasionally rewarded with new potion recipes or upgrades to those we already know after completing some quests or missions. Another great deal of ingredients for our potions is gonna come from the beasts that we eventually tame. The room of requirement, the Vivarium, appended to the room, makes home for those beasts who are our friends or pets or companions or whatever you prefer to call them. The idea, this huge spacious area, comes apparently from the famous Newt Scamander's suitcase, and I'm actually thinking that we are gonna be using a very similar suitcase like Newt did to get into the room of requirement in the first place. Well, because obviously we're not going to be traveling back and forth to the castle if we need to interact with our potions or creatures from any location on the map. In the second showcase, the Hogwarts Legacy team presented us a Grabhorn, a Niffler, a Mooncalf and a Kneazle, but of course there are much more other species out there. And hey, in the comments you can share your opinions what other species of creatures we'll be able to tame here. Are we getting any more surprises like Grabhorn, which was really very strange to me, that of all possible magical beasts they've chosen exactly one of the most aggressive kinds to be our partner. The mechanics of interacting with creatures is very simple, it's very intuitive, as taming a kitten that you found abandoned on the street. When you encounter a creature you like, you just need to be nice to it, you pet it, feed it, and only then, or when the creature trusts you, you can count on the magical ingredients from your new beastie friend. And the mathematics is very simple here too. The more creatures you have, the more ingredients you can produce. Initially you will have to do all those things manually, feed creatures, brush them, and so on. Eventually, while you're progressing in the game, you will receive some special items that will allow you to provide the care to the beasts, to feed them automatically, to speed up collecting the ingredients from your creatures. But creatures are not only business and potion ingredients, it's also about fun. You can just chill out with your creatures and conjure a toy for them, hang around, watch them play, distract yourself from some dark secrets and battles with goblins. But back to the serious serious stuff. Another great thing that we'll be doing in the room of requirement is dealing with our gear. Any object, anything you locate or loot within quests and missions, you bring here to work on it, to identify its features. One of the main things that we discovered from this showcase is that we'd have to primarily conjure an identification station for our room to use it for initial evaluation of new gear. It means for any magical artifact that is unknown or unclear to you if you just found it for the first time. When you progress through the game, you will eventually be able to afford a loom. This is an absolutely must because from what they've shown us, any gear has its basic features. In the beginning, each gear has either one offense or one defense stat, but then you start working on upgrading the gear using ingredients from your creatures or plants. You can make it work much more efficiently in different kinds of situations. You can combine different pieces of gear together. In this case, the gear will comply to your very own magical style, or even it can be changed according to a specific situation, according to every single task you have in the game. You don't only loot the gear, but you can, for example, defeat an enemy and win a piece of gear to further connect it with other items and upgrade the objects with new traits. We saw here a whole bunch of available traits that can be applied in the game. What's also cool, this gives us more information about our future enemies, since the gear can be modified to conquer a specific type of enemy. So let's see what we have here. The Protego shielding is an increase in the most basic defensive charm Protego, which will help you deflect spells cast against you by dark wizards. Further, we can see a very interesting amphibial protection. It gives us an increased protection against dark bugs. Knowing that the dark bugs live in marshes and swamps, we can assume that we'll be fighting not only on land and in the skies, but also possibly underwater. We are also having traits against goblins, against inferi, which is called necromantic protection, a very special anti-venom protection against necromantula or giant super aggressive spiders. We're gonna be using cushioning against trolls, and as you can see here in the very bottom there's a line that reads lupus protection, which gives us a confirmation that there will be werewolves in the game. So we'll fight against werewolves, and this is so amazing that they put so many different species, so many kinds of different magical creatures in the game. This shows a really great effort to make the universe very diverse, very fun, very interesting and changing, because in order to accommodate, to prepare for every single battle against different kinds of enemies, we will have to not only use these different gear, but also we'll have to use different defensive spells, I'm sure, or maybe builds of spells plus potions plus gear. And the cute courtesy bonus, not only you change the gear itself, as everything else here in the room of requirement, you can also personalize the appearance of your gear. So basically, while you advance as a wizard, you gain lots of abilities, lots of various gear, you accumulate it all in your room of requirement, and then you can mix and match it the way you like. Of course, this new game showcase gives a lot more information to discuss. The game looks really promising. I really want to know what you think, what's your ideas about this. Thank you for your attention, Nox.